And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of New Book Who Dis. I'm your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is my buddy, my homie, Adam Lawson from Gifted Rebels. What's going on, brother? How you?
Dude, I am.
Welcome.
I'm super happy. It's this. There's this. I've got a new baby, which I love so much.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. And it's it's kind of like this rebirth time, right? And I'm in this mix of I'm producing this commercial documentary, and I've got this show in development at CW and doing comics. It's like I'm all over the.
You're
map.
all over the place.
Yeah, all over the map with it. It's I'm kind of in so many. I work in a lot of spectrums, but this is the one that like keeps me up at night, right?
Yeah.
It's like this is the one that like I was lying in bed and go, oh my god, I gotta delete that sentence on the campaign page. Oh shit, that dialogue is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That dialogue is wrong. I remember I'd sent it out to journalists. The first 22 pages, like a preview. Luke, and I had this moment where I spoke. Oh my gosh, that dialogue and that scene isn't any good. And I'm in the middle of the night and I'm in there, re-lettering the page, and then and updated the links because that can't be the line that goes out.
Mm-hmm. This is what true love of what you're doing is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what that means. Yeah. It means you lay awake at night. You're like, oh shit, I must fix this now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Luke. You're like, I'm sure you think about it too with like your art and lines. You'll be like, oh my gosh, why?
I try not to obsess, but sometimes I look at something and then I'll see it later posted. Because you look at something smaller on the phone screen and you're like, oh my god, what? Yeah. I feel it. Exactly. I feel you.
Yeah, you're like, oh, why did I lay that page out like that? And it's all these things that come to your mind, and I think you're right. It's the sign, right, Luke, that you're in it, that you have.
Yeah, you're invested in it, man. Yeah,
you crossed the line. You're thinking about it, and every time the Kill Journal books came in recently, and they're still they're on the boat. The advanced copies. The boat is I could just. Right now, between
you could rip your hair out, huh?
Yeah, oh my god! Like it's a major "Let's Go" Brandon with this shipping situation is just like. Anyways, but the book should be here in the port. But like excellent. I remember when it first come in, and you're pouring through every page, and you're like, just like, wait, did the color come through on that page right? And you're just like, and you look back over your things, and you're like, oh man, that lettering there. That was really the wrong choice.
It's the small details, man. It's the skin in the game. It's the love of what you're doing. Yep. It's the passion for what you're doing. We got a lot of people in the chat hanging out. We got Mr. Matt Barr, remind us set. Mr. Michael Green, what's up, brother? And Matt Kevlar, I dig the art. It looks like a fun book. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Adam always brings the fun. What's up, Flying Feline? Skull, thank you for... Oh, there's this weirdo hanging out in the chat. Uh-oh. Very strange person with that skull face. This was actually Halloween 2007. I wore this on last Wednesday and then went out gallivanting around town as Ghost Rider.
As you should, really.
Had to,
As you should.
Matt says, I'm wondering how much alcohol comes from foreign places because we could be fucked. Oh, no. Make your own, see? I like the way Flying Feline thinks there. What's up, Rick Sailor? Thank you.
Flying Feline is doing a manga, if I'm not mistaken, a witch-based manga? Or I could have seen, I was sworn that might be...
No, she's got a great channel, though. She's got the Happy Hour Hangout, which rocks before Topicless on Tuesdays. It's usually why I'm a wee bit tipsy when I show up to the show. She's going to do a mead-making tutorial on her channel someday soon.
Mead-making. Sorry, forget that manga. It's mead-making. I don't know how that happened.
What's up, F off well read? Hey, you know what? There could be a mead-making manga because comics, manga... You can tell any kind of story at all with this medium. It doesn't have to be, cape shit. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. It can be anything. So,
see, that's what I feel too, Luke. Don't you feel like that? Sometimes you see people on the internet saying, this space, we have to protect it or whatever. And you're like, bro, this space, cavemen started doing this. This is space. sequential art has been that you can't own sequential art.
It's a storytelling mechanic, man. It is a basic storytelling vehicle, just like prose is. It's just a very unique storytelling vehicle. You can tell any kind of story you want. You just got to make it interesting. And because it's a visual medium, you got to make it visually interesting, not just mentally interesting, And that's where a lot of it fails, Because you'll have one thing that is kind of very visually stimulating sometimes. Like, a bunch of 90s comics looked really cool. The story wasn't quite there. And then sometimes you'll have the story, which is really good. Like, very often I will find Warren Ellis will write something that I'll enjoy, but the artwork will just be like, it doesn't have the bounce. It doesn't have the character or the resilience to stand up to the prose. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. No, I feel like that's what I feel like. I think my favorite players in the game right now is a guy named Daniel Warren Johnson.
Oh yeah.
And because I feel like that guy, he's writing and drawing, right? Mm-hmm. And at both of them, he's doing them at a level 10, and he has such this frenetic energy in his art. It has this sense of motion and movement, and
he's having fun.
Even though, he's having fun, right?
Yeah,
it's totally. So you're just like, oh, get me in on this. And like, I know you were talking about Beta Ray Bill the other day.
With ink spots.
Yeah, with ink spots you're talking about, which is his book as well, and so my same colorist who did Kids and Monsters did Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, that's awesome!
It's I just love what he's doing with colors. But like Daniel Warren Johnson, you're like this guy is pushing for fun. There is a frenetic energy, and I feel like that's what Maxie is. I feel like Maxie is a younger Daniel Warren Johnson, ready to be.
And that's your artist on the book?
Yeah. Maxie Dallo, the Argentinian.
Go ahead and bring up and share system audio, Chrome tab. All the links for everything Adam's doing is in the description of this video. I mean, he's got the full gamut of social media and websites, so go check out all of this. All right, so look at this cover.
I know, right? I hope that this
is cool.
There was right. Isn't it so cool? There was this other option that we did with all of the characters and all their monsters and all their weapons, but it wasn't very intimate. It was almost just so, so in your face that it didn't draw you in, right? And there's something nice about this thing with a boy with a backpack with a monster crawling out of it. That for me at least, it's like, oh, that's the story I want to know more about. And what's that monster doing? And this, the heart of this story, and I think Luke, you and I have talked about this, like the idea of like, what's your heart of your story, right? And versus what's the fantasy of it, right?
Right.
And at the core of it, the heart of this story is teenagers whose parents are on the verge of divorce,
right? And
their world is about ready to be ripped apart, and that's. Right, yeah, and that's the message I think for all of us can understand and connect with on a human level is, hi, I'm a child. I can't control my parents or my surroundings, and my whole world's about ready to break.
Yeah.
And then we surround that with, monsters and red beasts and over-the-top skateboarding, and we make it a comic, right? We make it fun.
Yeah, you add in the flair, but there's a very, very human story, very character-driven story at the heart of it. You got to care about the characters in order to go on the adventure. Otherwise, the adventure is just hollow. At least in my opinion, anyway.
No, and I think what you're saying is right. It's like that's why I felt like Beta Ray Bill was interesting, right? Because it was about a monster who was actually looking for some acceptance, right? On a romantic level, and like, hi, I'm not worth anything. And it was surrounded by this big hammer and crazy, super mega wrestling moments.
Well, I mean, you gotta have the contrast, in the story. It can't all just be one monotonous tone. Otherwise, you get this bland gray thing of a story that goes nowhere and does nothing. You gotta have the peaks and the valleys. That contrast, that conflict.
I think so, and I think one of the things is, and I think the most, I've backed over 170 books, of fellow players. Hey, Frog G, and I think that the thing I feel the most is that oftentimes in the stories is that people are given things, like they get powers or they overcome something too easily, or without making a character change. And that's what makes it emotionally cathartic, right? That they had to give something up to get this thing on an emotional level. So hopefully I can land that with this book. I think I've done it, and hopefully other people feel that too.
Well, let's take a look at the trailer you got up here.
Let's do it.
Let's see. I believe that I shared the audio.
I started seeing the cracks just after Mom and Dad began fighting. They were thin as pencils at first. Then they got bigger. And things started to disappear. Beasts are pouring out of them. Beasts trying to rip the world in two. Just like my family is being ripped in half by my parents. But we're not alone. There are keeps shaped like backpacks hidden in the world within. They hold monsters for those willing to fight. Here, monsters are not the things to be afraid of, but embrace. Monsters are the ones who are going to save us.
Very cool. That was a very interesting aspect ratio. I kept trying to shrink it down and maybe get the screen to like fill up a bit more, and it thwarted me the entire time.
Yes, it said we are not going to let you get this right.
Nope. This is set for phones, and you will deal with it. So, who cut together your trailer for you?
So a guy named James Dooling. He's been my editor on many TV shows, and he's a friend, and he did it to me as a favor. And it needs some. And so I've for my 3 trailers, I've done different levels. For the 8th. I had, which was awesome. It was awesome. I had a full blown.
Show that again.
So here's my first book. A nice solid 224 page hardcover.
That is a solid chunk of story right there.
Yeah, this is the full thing, and you get the cool print.
Nice.
But I had at the time, I was directing a TV series, and so I had an animation team animate the trailer. So I had, full-blown animation, 3D motion, things rocking in and out of focus. Wow. It was really alive on the 8th. And but it would have cost me thousands to do that again. So on the second one, I had somebody kind of do a slightly modified version. And on the last one, I had just somebody cut something together. Because it was like, and I think what's happened for me, Luke, is I've quit watching people's trailers in general. Because I've now backed so many books that you realize the trailer isn't what you're getting. It's actually the art pages.
Well, I mean, is the trailer ever what you're getting? I mean, when it comes to movies, it's to entice you. It's to. It used to be to get the idea across in a brief amount of time to get it to entice you to come see the film. Now it's kind of like, here, let's throw up all the really splashy scenes to grab your attention visually, and then you go in and you're like, wait a minute, that was all of this fun stuff. Now I'm stuck with the rest of this. Yeah.
Yes. Everything fun happened in 1 minute, and now it's boring.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I here? Yeah. Unfortunately, trailers these days are a little deceiving. So that's why I like the simple nature of this trailer, because it's straightforward, gives you an idea of the setup for the story, and kind of the emotional things that are going on, and monsters are going to save us. What? It leaves you with a question at the end. Which in and of itself is kind of a call to action.
Right.
Which is what your trailer is supposed to do. It's supposed to entice and call people to action to come check out the book.
You get it, my friend.
Yeah. So how long has this story been cooking around in your head?
So, Luke, this has been cooking around in my head for a couple of years. It started, I was playing a role-playing game with my niece and nephew. Yes. And I was, it was my own creation of a role-playing game. As you know, I have one called Asunder, which has full books and all kinds of crazy stuff and minis. But I'd kind of built this one just for them to play. And in it, we started talking about finding monsters in backpacks and how cool and how much they wish they could pull a monster out of their backpack to help them.
Like a pocket monster, except a backpack monster.
Except a backpack monster. You get it.
Nice.
And so that spurred this initial idea, and which is also why I wanted to make the book. My other two books are definitely more R-rated, and to make this one more PG in regards to its content, so that it can be read by all ages. Though it's not all ages in the sense that it's for little kids or that nature. It's just clean. There's no cursing in it, but it deals with some really heavy.
No blood, gore, dismemberment, none of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's monsters getting smashed and smushed, but no humans.
That's acceptable.
Right?
Yeah,
that's acceptable, right? A big red beast can get smushed.
Exactly.
So I wanted to make it more accessible without being kiddish, if you will.
I think that's great.
Right. And I feel like, and I think, in many ways, like what Luke, I think what we're a part of so cool within this indie scene here is that we're making something new, right? Like, we're not trying to be Marvel and DC. We're trying to build the new tales that in 20 years from now, people are going to be like, oh man, they're bringing that back, versus like, wow, we're just trying to make a new version of Avengers. No, we're not. We're actually we're building a new castle over here. It doesn't even need to borrow any bricks.
New. Yeah. We don't need to use any of that. We're building our own mythos over here. We don't need to borrow from yours.
That's right. And so that's very much at the and so I thought, in the mix of making these stories, there should be some that can start attracting people who are young as well as old, so that way we can really accomplish that task. Yeah. And it might be too lofty of me, but it's
dream big, I say. What's going on, 24 Eyes? Welcome, replicant. Dream big, man. Like, why not? Like at least if you're aiming for something big, if you fall short of that mark, you went further than if you just aimed small. You know. At least if you're gonna fail at something, you might as well fail at trying to make something epic, rather than half-assing it.
I agree. And this is this book is an oversized A4, so it's Euro size.
Nice. Okay.
It's hardcover, right? And the fun of that is, Luke, it's like when you pop open a book like that. Yeah, one is you could have more panels on a page, but you feel it feels immersive, right? Like I'm in this. Yes. And I've been reading a bunch of Euro comics, and so it's what got me.
They love that stuff over there, man. The albums that they do. I mean, they have those things in train stations. Like they read over there. That's why there's such a wide variety of different things over there to read. That are comics.
Totally.
Black Sad, for instance. You ever read Black Sad?
I've not read Black Sad. I just was reading this one called Black Sad. It's on the list.
I'll send you a link. Yeah.
Please do. Yeah, because it's all right. You feel like when you look at French comics, you look what's happening over there. You're like, they're not even into capes and cowls, and they sell. And people like in France, it's like 1 in 4 books being sold is a graphic novel. It's like, my gosh, they're reading it like a normal person just says, I'm reading a graphic novel. Not I don't have to be into a fringe thing or a geek.
It's not weird at all because you're just reading. It's a storytelling medium. It's not this one thing. It's not this any one thing that anybody thinks it is. It's a way to tell stories. It's up to you to tell the good story with the art and the story within it. Like it's got to come together. It's the unique amalgam, this gestalt, if you will, that when done correctly just is amazing.
Thank you for using that word, gestalt. I appreciate that. We needed that.
My parents, when I was growing up, they actually had a business named Gestalt Enterprises.
Oh, okay.
I grew up with that word. So I learned that word at an early age. Yeah, but I mean, reading. One of the reasons why I love reading is because of comics. Like, comics helped me learn to read. My mom was teaching me how to read with flashcards, but my dad got me comics, and, Spider-Man, Batman, and the Fantastic Four, I could tell what was going on in the pages, but until I actually learned to read, like, I distinctly remember when I could finally read, like, it just, like, was this fog lifting, and the story finally made sense, because I could kind of follow along with the pictures, but once I was able to read, and it was just like, okay, this is something I love. Now I love reading. I love books. I love story. Like, give me a good story. Give me good artwork to go along with this story, you know?
Yeah,
So
no, that's what I feel like. And I feel like, you know, when I take a look at the Kill Journal, you know, there's this feeling of when you pick up a book, right, like this, and you just flip through the pages here, you know, and I'm at my in-laws, and they've been looking through this, and it's like you're immediately like, you pick this up, and you're like, oh, wait, there's a whole story to be told. And as you flip through the pages, you're like, oh,
it's beautiful.
Right? I just want to, I want to be in this world, right? I want to be in this world.
You want to experience it, yeah.
Yeah, and I that's what I love too. Like when you pick up a graphic novel and you sit down, you're just like, this is it. I'm in this world, right? I just finished reading Akira, which is shameful that it took me this long, you know. But it's so good, right? And I just wanted to be sitting in that book.
I have only read the first way back in the day when Dark Horse was still putting out the volumes of Akira. I read the first one in Barnes & Noble way back in the day. I have never read the whole thing, so.
Oh, okay. Well, we all have our admissions, right? So this is.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I haven't read, man. I don't claim to have read everything.
They did this like amazing anniversary set, right? That's just this really dope. Right, they did this really dope hardcover, and there's it's all the volumes, right?
Yeah,
5 of them, and you realize when you start digging into this, it's like the way it's paced and the storytelling skill set here is like, damn, I got a lot to learn.
This is a reason why manga sells so well over there. I mean, yes, there's a lot of it, and it is a part of their culture, much like it is in Europe. You know, the French comics, totally. Manga over in Japan is very much ingrained into. It's in the train stations. People read a lot. Reading is encouraged. You know, being smart is encouraged. I'll never understand this. I will never understand this cult of idiocy that we have cultivated in this country. But anyway, you know,
right?
Like, oh, you like to read books? Oh no.
Yeah,
I mean, like to lift weights too, but you know, it's okay. Anyway.
Right, and if somehow that precludes you from doing all the other things, right?
Right, because you can't have brains and brawn. It's like you can only be one or the other. But anyway, getting off into a tangent here. I digress.
Yes.
Where I was going is the reason why manga sells so well is because they've got good stories. They're telling good stories. They're entertaining people. Because it's a meritocracy over there. You have to tell a good story, otherwise you don't keep getting published in the shonens. You know, and you definitely don't get collected into an edition and then sold to a company. You know, you got to work your ass off. You know, those guys don't fucking sleep or eat. I mean, all they do is work.
No, I mean it is so disciplined. It's like when animation in the United States is actually really done in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Because of the discipline of the artists there, right? And in Japan as well. And so, and like I agree with you, like that, like passion and the idea, like you say, I think you said it best. It's like, what a cool thing when you think about what Shonen Jump is, right? Like there's 20 stories in it, and the ones that people like continue, and the ones they don't. It's really just saying, hey guys, we're putting it out towards you as the audience. You pick which one of these things lives or dies, right?
Yeah. Support what you love. Ignore what you don't like. Support what you love. Buy what you like. You know? I mean, why don't waste energy on, hating on something. Just like, not for me. Okay, move on. Not going to get my dollar. You know, that's really what it boils out to. You know, you vote with your wallet. You know?
And Kids and Monsters might be a good thing to vote.
Speaking of voting with your wallet.
Voting with your wallet.
Kids and Monsters. So the basic book is $25, and for how many pages are we looking at?
It's 72, and it's oversized hardcover book.
Yep.
I wanted to give
be awesome.
Right, I wanted to give people real value for that $25. And so it's going to be a hardcover. It's going to be A4. It's going to be beautiful. And then this featured tier here gets you the rad T-shirt. And anybody who got my T-shirt on the 8th knows that it's a super high quality premium cotton, and it's got a really beautiful design that isn't a Comic-Con boxy shirt. It's like a real premium brand with with a custom
like an actual
label.
like comfortable shirt that you'll wear on a regular basis.
That you would actually wear. That's right.
Yeah.
They're expensive to do.
What's up, Shane?
Then you're Yeah, right. But to get you like instead of sitting kind of that boxy maybe Fruit of the Loom cheap end. This is you know what I'm saying?
The comfy. No. Seriously,
Yeah.
I love good quality apparel. Like my Monster MD shirt, the shirts that Vaughn got through. I guess it was whatever it was. I can't remember which site he did, but they came super soft, very comfortable. One of my favorite shirts to wear. So I agree, man. The high quality apparel means that it gets worn.
That's right.
Again. Passionate about not just the story, but the apparel that you're giving to the customer as well, because it all comes together. One thing being high quality is great, and please continue with that. But if you're going to do apparel like T-shirts or buttons or patches or whatnot, make them high quality. Because people like me want to be able to sport this stuff for a long time. So I dig the design too. The neck. Is there a better picture of the shirt down here?
Yeah, if you go down there, if you go down below, you can catch it. If you keep scrolling to the kind of near the bottom.
Ooh, we're gonna have to. There's all kinds of cool shit we're gonna have to talk about. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I dig that. I dig that design.
Yeah, so this is this is me working with the art that I had with Maxie to build this, and putting the title on the sleeve, and this. And also using, this is like a stone color. It's a slight, it's got this slight dull gray / stone.
Oh, okay.
It's not like a beaming white, but it's something that it has a nice coloring to it, so that you want to wear it. And like you're saying, if you're building apparel, like we should be proud of the tribe we're repping, right? Like I'm with you too. Like you want to wear your shirt that says Lost Pages, that says Wirehead, whoever it is, and be like, yo.
Nope.
This is what I stand for.
Yeah, bands, movies, comics like this. We all love to represent the stuff that we love. Like, usually when I'm wearing like a band shirt out, I hope people will be like, "Yo, rad band shirt, dude." Now people usually just look at me like I need Jesus. So, but I love.
And you do need Jesus, apparel. And you do need Jesus, but.
Yeah, but that's not what the shirt was for. But we love to represent, we love to rep the stuff that we love, and having high quality stuff means that we rep it more often. If a shirt's scratchy, as much as you like it, you ain't gonna wear it, No. Yeah. All right, so that is such a cool figure. All right, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna scroll back up because there's a lot of cool shit that I missed. All right, so that was the featured tier that we were talking about with the shirt. Let's talk about the ash can. What's going on with the nail and goo ash can?
If you want to scroll down a little bit, Luke, we can see a few of the pictures there. So there's this other story I have in the works that has several pages done called Nail and Goo, and
these pages look great, by the way.
Don't they look so great?
Yeah.
You can get the book in black and white or color. But what I wanted to do with this is I wanted to build a campaign exclusive ash can that would seed this new story that is set in the world of Kids and Monsters. It's not directly related to the plot, but it's set around the town of Lovelock, where Kids and Monsters is set.
Yes.
Where the 8th happens to be set as well,
okay.
Yeah, so this is my Castle Rock, and so right?
Yeah.
Get it? And so it's about a monster named Nail who crash lands just outside of town he's a young little monster, and he befriends this girl named Goo, and they grow up together, and he is also lost and trying to fit into this world, right? And he's called Nail because he can consume anything, and he eats nails when she first meets him, and that's why the name's stuck.
Very cool.
And then this dark figure from his past is coming after him, and appears, and he has to fight for his identity and how to figure out his place in the world. And so this is a look into this storyline. It sets it all up, and then you'll see more of this in the future. But this is the only way to get this
cool
special ash can.
16-page little campaign exclusive ash can. Very cool. Just going to be black and white?
No, it's going to be full color. If you look,
no shit. Okay, very cool. So it's same interior artist?
No, it's a new artist. His name's Magnaz. He does a lot of my fantasy art for my RPG games. But this is one of the cool interior pages.
Oh, this is him right here, Ash Cannon. Oh,
yeah, this is him right
wow.
Yeah,
that is pretty fucking rad.
It's rad art, and so Nail he has like organic vines and etc. He has like this living organism on his back that like enhances his strength and power, and he uses the vines and growth of that living organism to help him in combat, etc. And so he is, and in a way, he's like this bio organic something, right? That's why he can consume anything, because he's all organic, and goo is very high tech, and so they that's their sort of two ends of the spectrum.
Cool. That will be fun. And possibly more of that later on. Very cool. All right. So since we're down here, tell us about the Malian Rage figurine here.
Yeah, so I wish I had it with me. I'm out of town at my in-laws. I brought a shower, but I didn't dare travel because for sure it would.
No, Murphy's Law says that it would get busted. 100%. No, you made the right choice. Yeah,
1,000%. But it's a beautiful. So this is a one-of-a-kind sculpt. It's an original sculpt.
So we're
it's an
6.5 inches tall. Yeah.
Yep, 6.5 inches tall. So it's a sizey thing. It's a beautiful. It's hand painted. There's only one on Earth like it. It's a collector's item.
Okay, so it's a single piece. This is the only one that exists.
That's right. It's a single piece.
Oh, wow.
It's a hand painted item, and it's digitally sculpted, printed, built, and hand painted, and is all that there. It is the only one there is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Somebody go snap that up.
I think so. On the 8th, I had a 10-inch figurine that was this beautiful hand sculpt that I didn't know if anybody was going to get it because the price was so high, but it was so expensive as sculpting things is.
Right.
Especially one-offs.
Yeah, one-offs especially.
Yeah, but it's so all my fingers are crossed that a nice collector says I'm going to swoop that up.
That's awesome.
Now, and I wish
these pages are great. Wow.
Is it Maxie just killing it? Like you look at this.
Oh yeah,
storytelling.
I love the energy.
Right.
Like the energy and the flow of the pages, and the looking at it in black and white, the balance of the contrast. It's good. I really, really like it.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well too. It's like it's like this frenetic energy and movement in life that I hope to achieve with the pages, and I at least I think for myself that's half the work in making a comic something you want to pour into, right? Is that there is a sensation of motion in it. Mm-hmm. I think the books that I tend to not pick up and put back down and never pick back up again are the ones where the characters feel very static, the facial expressions are kind of static. You know what I mean, Luke? You're just like,
well, you don't feel like you're in a living world. You don't feel like the world's lived in. It feels like a video game that it's an open world, but it doesn't feel like a lived-in world. It feels like there's this, old Hollywood West, town where it's just like there are plains, it's flat plains and there's flat characters. The world doesn't feel lived in, and sometimes you encounter stories that are like that. They just don't feel lived in because the author hasn't put enough, energy, hasn't put enough oomph into building the world, perhaps for themselves. Maybe they don't see it clearly enough. I don't know. But yeah, I know what you mean, man. Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't, you don't get drawn in because there's not enough there to pull you in. There's not enough there to relate to.
And I think that even I don't know if you see this, I've seen this comic by Tonic Mole, Saving the World. It's kind of like this ghost world story about the boobs. But he has this great sense of motion and emotion on the faces and the movement of people, so you really feel like you're in it. I think that's, like we talked about manga, one of its strengths, right? Is it brings you in. The emotion is really present, what people are feeling. The
story reaches out, grabs you, pulls you in, and it holds on to you, and you get invested in the characters. I mean, I feel personally, whenever I'm reading a story, if I can't invest in the characters, if I don't feel like I give a shit about the characters, there could be the most amazing, fantastical thing going on in the world, I'm not going to give a shit. Like, that's cool and all, but, you know, I have no vehicle to traverse this story because I don't care about your characters. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It matters, you know, how well put together they are, you know, like, I don't know. Are they an asshole? Yes, but are they a fun asshole? Are they, you know, do they have some redeeming qualities? I mean, you gotta have something. There's gotta be something there. It can't just be surface level traits. You gotta have an actual person there. You know.
Yeah.
I know that's funny to say when it comes to like fiction, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that tell stories and they're not telling the truth. They have an idea of what they want to happen, but stories don't always go the way you want them to go. They often have a life of their own.
I would agree with you that sometimes you're right, like that you start something and you hope it's going to fit in this one box over here to the left, and it doesn't fit there for you.
Yep, but that makes you rethink, you know, it makes you use the gray matter and reshuffle things, and then usually ends up being better for it, you know.
Right.
Preconceived notions.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I fully agree. So, but I think that also what I hope to craft with this experience, right, is that as we talk about like the fun, right, and I think that as we both probably feel this, the comics should have some heart and have lots of fun, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, so in this experience, right, each of the characters finds and uncovers a monster that's reflective of who they are, right?
Yeah.
So some of the monsters are or I guess so. One of the monsters is Mally's monster, and she's full of all this anger because she doesn't know how to cope with her parents fighting, right? Which is pretty real. And so her monster is this big ogre with this spike ball and chain, as you can see from the figurine. That has all this
to smash
anger and wants to crush things. Yeah, it was a smash, right? And whereas Gatsby, he's like a Rubik's Cube master and math head, and his monster, this is Gren right here. You can see him. You know, he's an alchemist, right? Yeah, isn't it great design? We were trying to figure out.
Go ahead.
No, trying to figure out this woodland creature / monster, right? That kind of tease you in. So I was like the woodland alchemist.
That totally fits with the alchemist thing. Yeah, you know, kind of secluded off woodland monster thing, kind of away. Yeah, no, I dig it. I love the bottles. I mean, I just really like the design on this dude.
Right, and I think that Maxie and I have kind of found him to maybe be our favorite a bit, even though that maybe others might find their own favorite, because he's such a unique monster, and he's like the wise sage monster, if you will. He has the truth about the world, if you will.
Okay.
And he uses his potions to do various things to destroy monsters and beasts. Hey, Hex, how you doing?
What's up, Hex?
So this is but like whereas Jinsu, he finds a monster that he has to control with a remote control, right? He's a video gamer, and the monster is this like hap keto master feline cat-like creature that that he has to communicate to it through his remote controller.
Okay, so that's this character here that's playing with the controller,
playing the game,
okay.
And you scroll down to the bottom, the very bottom, the last image.
Yeah.
Shows all the kids and all their monsters.
And
if you go down one more,
there's still some original art left. It looks like there's 3 pages of original art left.
Yep.
Oh, better jump on that, y'all.
I know, I love the original art, but you can see here like his is this cat-like creature, right? And there's Mally with her ogre. And there's the leader. You know, that each one is a reflection of them, and that if there are other kids who fell into the world within, they could find keeps that have monsters that are a reflection of them as well. So there's essentially an unlimited number of monsters to find, as there is, teens who are willing to venture in, right?
Oh, and each one is unique to, each one is unique to the person. Nope.
That's right.
Flying Feline says feline cat-like creature, you say.
Yes. She There's an understanding there.
That's awesome.
And this is like our leader. This is our arch villain, if you will.
Yeah.
In our story here, and those are her right and left hands, and they control the red beasts, the big nasty things.
Okay, and those are the things that we saw at the top. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And once again, this is Mike Spicer's killer colors and Maxie's lines. It took a while, when trying to craft coloring of the kids and the monsters. And Gren, I think, took the longest, like building the right coloring. He had red eyes at one point, but then it was too much. And then he was sort of brown, and then we changed it to, we ended up with purple. And so, and the really extended arms, with the claws, that seemed to paint what this guy is with the long legs. That
the shape language.
That he told you he was almost maybe a friendly monster.
Well, I mean, it kind of also gives me a feeling almost of the Ents from Lord of the Rings. Looking at him, kind of, I don't know. It might be the fringe or the frills up around his neck give me an impression of trees, and then the stuff coming off of his forearms. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of gives me that impression. I mean, the neutral expression on his face. He could be. It looks like he could be violent, though.
Sure. I think all. I mean, all monsters have the capability to kick some butt.
Right.
I think is the story.
So this first one. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say this first one is 72 pages. Is this a one and done story, or is this like a continuing thing that you've got?
So this is just volume 1. There's going to at least be a volume 2 to close out this story arc. And depending on how things are rolling, maybe there will be volumes 3, 4, and 5 and beyond. But for now, for sure, volume 1 and 2 of this tale. So get on in.
All right. So let's go back up here to the tiers. So we looked at the featured, which is the shirt, the comic, and the ash can, and then you can get a digital for $20.
And that's the ash can and the book. That's both. That's the book and
the digital is the ash can and the. Yeah. That's awesome. So you get both stories, no matter what. That's great.
And like I've done with all my other books, because we're really ahead on the art. As soon as the campaign closes, so starting first week of January, you're going to get issue 1, February issue 2. There's essentially 3 issues worth in the 72 pages. And
awesome.
So you'll start to get it monthly. So you won't have to wait until delivery, so to speak. You'll be getting them as it happens. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can get the book and the ash can for $33. That's awesome. Both graphic novels, the black and the white. Now, can you add on the ash can if you wanted to get both the black and white? Okay, awesome.
Ash can be added on. Shirts can be added on. Original art can be added on. I love the add-on feature. When I'm a backer as well, because it's like, I see these couple things I want. So then, particularly Peter Simeti is the master of it with his Alterno campaigns. Right? There's always. You click and you're like, I'll add this, I don't want that, I like this. And it's a great way to build your own package.
Oops. Yeah. Oh, actually, we can take a look at that. I'm not signed into my account, but see, look at all the stuff that you can add on. You can add the shirt, you could even add another black and white or another graphic novel if you wanted. That's
for the hardcores. That's for the hardcores, to get it for your friends. To get it for your friends.
Turn your friends on to some good comics, man. We need to do that. We need to introduce our friends to good reading. Encourage our friends to read more. And the best way to do that, give them good shit to read.
Give them good things to read.
That's right.
So, I think also too, Luke. You tell me, like when you're looking at a book and you're looking at a campaign, what's the first thing you look to? Like, what is it that does it for you?
Well, I mean, being an artist, I always look at the artwork. If the artwork is striking, if it catches me, I mean, sometimes the artwork of a book will literally just turn me off. I hate to say it, but oftentimes Jeff Lemire's stuff, I'll look at the artwork and it just turns me right off. I mean, I don't care what the story is. It's just I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's going to be these scratchy lines, like, you know, not terribly great anatomy. And I mean, I'm not specifically calling out Jeff Lemire. I'm just talking about that style. You know what I mean? It doesn't really have any form, and it loses depth after a while for me, and it gets exhausting to read. You know, visually.
Interesting, because I think that Jeff Lemire in many ways is a really spectacular storyteller, right?
I agree. No, he knows how to craft a really good yarn. It's just the artists he chooses sometimes really don't do it for me.
Don't do it for you, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree that. I feel like a really strong writer, but his taste sometime in art, I agree with you, sometimes has left me not there.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, I'm
really
kind of an art
storyteller.
snob, you know?
Right.
I have been accused of being an art snob. I mean, but you know, my preferences, my taste lean towards, you know, Silvestri and Dave Finch and, you know,
sure.
Fragaboom and McFarlane and stuff like that.
You're looking for a more highly detailed lines with it's more of a concrete image you're looking at versus.
I'm looking for a little more substance. You know, sometimes Ashley Wood. You know, I'll see an image that Ashley Wood has done. I'll think that's awesome, and then I'll see something else that Ashley Wood has done. I'm like, wow, I really hate that. You know,
Right.
just the variation in his style. Just you know, sometimes just off the wall, like the Metal Gear Solid stuff. I was really like looking forward to that, and I read the comic, and I was like, what am I looking at? Oh no!
What happened to me?
What happened to? Do I need to be on drugs to read this? But you know, sometimes you get that really good gestalt, you know, of the art and the story, and sometimes it's a little off. I mean, again, my personal tastes, but the artwork that you've got for this, just like you know, Vaughn with his artist on Monster MD, it works with the story. It gets the vibe across.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Monica is she's really something, isn't she?
These are great pages. I cannot wait to see. You know, I mean, the acting, the emoting in these tiny little panels right here, like that. You know, that eye looking over. You know, the trepidation. You know, it's great. You know, the body language.
I know that's why Maxie's so good, right? She's like, hey, give me a kiss instead of, you know, turn your video game off and kiss me instead, right?
Right.
And like that, what he did with that eye, you know what I mean? Where we just see the one in the corner like that, right? I just, And then I was lettering that. I was like, man, a balloon is just gonna mess that up. But how can I create the feeling, you know, without just remove the balloon and let it be?
Let the story tell itself with the art. Let the characters emote. You know, it's something that's often lost, I feel, in modern books. Well, I know you said that you had to skidoo here in a couple minutes. So, guys, do you have any questions for Adam before we go ahead and wrap up here? This is going to be an awesome book. You're going to want to jump in on this, and like I said, there are 3 pages of original artwork left. Jump on it. You know. Not to mention, you know, this awesome one-of-a-kind sculpture down here. I mean, holy shit. That is pretty fucking rad.
I think so. I think so.
And hand-painted. So you get you know, an ash can, you get a comic, a 16-page ash can, a 72-page comic, Kids and Monsters, great artwork, great story, and you can get either with color or black and white. So, I mean, look at these page layouts. I love it.
I know he just did it. Max, he really did. I'm so glad with that. But Luke, thank you for having me on, and thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out. I know it's us just talking comics, and it's awesome that you guys want to come hang out.
That's what we do around here.
Yeah. Thank you, Frog. Thank you, Frog. That's
Always appreciate
Frog
you guys.
is a pillar in this community for sure.
He's got the neural link to the interwebs to post the links for all the campaigns. I can only imagine the spreadsheet that he pulls from.
I mean, he is
the biggest clipboard. Mm-hmm. He's always on it.
Yeah, I know. He has everything. He's like, oh, no, I've got it. Oh, I've got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't have it, he will find it. You know.
In minutes.
It looks awesome.
Literally.
Woo. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate you being here. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And you will see Adam on here again very soon, because once I get my kill journal, we're going to do a new book, Who Dis?
Yes.
I cannot wait.
It will be coming. It will be coming soon. If it can only survive the Long Beach port.
It will.
Here's the red. Yes.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here, and we are heading out. Later.
Boom.